Okay, I've had some inquiries and people have asked me about did I see Devin Haney's contract deal. From what I know, Devin Haney has signed a multi-contract deal with Lou DiBella, Top Rank, and ESPN. And people wanted to know my thoughts on it. So I tried my best to gather as much information about it as I could. I think I got enough to give my sound analysis on it and what I think. So from what I understand, Devin Haney has signed a multi-fight deal to fight George Kambosos twice. And I believe it's once in America, once in Australia, or maybe they're both in Australia. I'm not too sure about that. And if he wins, then he has to fight Vasily Lomachenko. My thoughts on that. Well, as far as what he's being paid, I always knew it wasn't going to be that great because Bob Arum never paid Lomachenko that great. Lomachenko has been fighting for basically some low money for quite some time. It's something that Teofimo Lopez mentioned when he said his entire career equated to only $2 million. And so I knew that, the money wasn't going to be great. But I also knew that, to be the man, you're going to have to take some sacrifices and you're going to have to jump through those fiery hoops to do such a thing. So I heard that Devin Haney already signed his portion of the contract, and George Kambosos has yet to sign his side of the contract, which is kind of funny, you know what I'm saying, because they're the one that sent the contract. So I don't know, that's kind of weird, but how this game goes. But what do I think about it? It depends on what angle you want to look at it. If you're looking at it from a standpoint of Top Rank and ESPN and how people feel about ESPN basically is the new HBO. What I mean by that, HBO is they're more prone to promote European fighters and try to put them up at the top as the best, and they will do anything to make them appear as being better than what they are and all that other stuff. So we know the story about HBO, and in the end they tanked because of doing that. Now, so when it comes to Devin Haney signing a contract with somebody like Bob Arum, who's recently been accused of not knowing how to promote black fighters and basically putting Vasily Lomachenko over Terrence Bud Crawford, that is factual. We all seen it. We all know it. We all seen the infamous ESPN erasing Vasily Lomachenko's loss. So we always know what they're trying to engineer over there. Was that a smart move for Devin Haney? I think Devin Haney believes that no matter what they try to throw in front of him, he can overcome it. And even though that they're trying to trap him and they're trying to give him, they're trying to give Kambosos and Vasily Lomachenko as many opportunities as they can to maintain this so-called undisputed status, because truthfully, nobody wants Devin Haney in this position. I have plenty of videos on it, and that's very clear, and we all know why they don't want Devin Haney in this position. And it's a damn shame that this shit still goes on in boxing, but nonetheless, it does. But it does not mean that Devin Haney cannot beat them at their game. So, would I would have done that if I was positive in my skill set and everything that I can do? I wouldn't worry about if I signed with ESPN and Top Rank and Lou DiBella, as long as it's only for those 3 fights. Okay? And he's not locked in there no other way, in no other fashion. If it's just that, then I don't mind it. Sometimes you got to go down to come up. Sometimes you got to make sacrifices just to jump ahead. So I'm not mad at that. And, it's not too much of a problem if he's confident in what he's doing. And I believe that he is. Now, when it comes to fighting George Kambosos twice, my remedy is very simple. You beat him to the point that a rematch is utterly ridiculous. Now, I know with the rematch, that's just them trying to double up their money. But if Devin Haney goes out there and totally blitz this dude, just totally obliterate him to where there's actually no point of having a rematch, he might be able to skip that rematch. I don't know, unless they want to just see Kambosos beat up on twice. So I think Devin Haney needs to go in there and totally style on this dude. Punish him. Not just for what he says, punish him for being pushed to the side, for being disrespected, you know, the whole nine. Take that all out on Kambosos, you know. Treat Kambosos like that's your last and final fight to your legacy. It's the last time you're going to lace up a pair of gloves, and this is how people are going to remember you for the rest of your life. Treat that fight like that, and there'll be no question, then no need for a rematch, unless, you know, like I said, it's just in the contract and it's just that obligated, and they want to get beat up on. They want Kambosos to get beat up on twice. Now, when it comes to Vasily Lomachenko, the reason why I'm not mad about it, because these are the fights that I want to see. I want to see Devin Haney fight Vasily Lomachenko. So I'm not mad at that either. I want to see Devin Haney fight George Kambosos. I don't think the fight needs to happen twice, but I actually want to see them fights. Yes. Now, the thing about Lomachenko is, and people have a hard time accepting how boxing has worked almost since the beginning of time. Okay. And that is, when you have a fighter that looks like Vasily Lomachenko, there's a reason why there is something called the Great White Hype. Okay. That's because boxing has been known to take European or Caucasian fighters and hype them up way more than what they deserve. And they're not really the man, you know, and try to protect them and try to downplay everybody else. This has been a formula in boxing for quite some time. That's why I keep referencing the movie The Great White Hype. It is the best boxing movie ever made, at the same time being one of the worst boxing movies ever made. The information in that movie tells you everything you need to know. Everything you need to know. So if you haven't watched it, go watch the movie. Don't watch it for the entertainment. Watch it for the storyline and the information, because that's how boxing works. It's not how it has to work, it's how they want it to work. You know, because over here in America, they must maintain a European or Caucasian superiority. You know, those are just facts. People can get in their feelings because I talk facts. I'm only telling you the truth and what is. Okay, so I actually do want to see that fight. But the thing about Lomachenko is, you know, Lomachenko is a favorite fighter simply because of his complexion, because look how many chances Lomachenko has got to be a champion. Okay. And Lomachenko, what, second pro fight, he got a title shot, right? Against Salido, right? He lost. All right. Then his very next fight, guess what? He gets another title shot. You tell me somebody who fights for a title shot and loses and turn around and get another title shot. That shit is illegal in boxing. Okay, you don't get two back-to-back title shots coming off of a loss. In case you didn't know that, that's not how that happened. So why did that happen? For two reasons. He has the complexion in which they believe that they can sell, and Vasily Lomachenko entered boxing too old. That's why I say people want to give Vasily Lomachenko all this props for racking up a great and a long amateur career. But if he was that great, then he should have went pro, because to me, there's nothing glorified by overstaying your welcome in the amateurs to the point where you get into boxing, you're pretty much an old man, and now you have to fast track your career. All right. But you don't get two back-to-back title shots. And then on top of that, after losing to Teofimo Lopez, once again, they try to give him another title shot. Okay, now you tell me who's getting these many title shots like this and why. Okay, but he couldn't do it because war broke out. But they made sure when Devin Haney fights Kambosos, the first person who's going to get a shot at Devin Haney is once again who? Vasily Lomachenko. Now you tell me why Vasily Lomachenko is getting all these chances to become a champion. Okay. And why they were even trying to get Vasily Lomachenko to fight George Kambosos in the first place. It absolutely didn't make any sense. Okay. Because he had nothing to offer. Absolutely nothing. Okay. And like I said, all this could have been solved if Vasily Lomachenko wouldn't enter as the franchise champion to avoid Devin Haney. Okay, you should have just fought your mandatory. We could have got this shit out the way. But the boxing world wanted to allow that to happen and did not criticize Vasily Lomachenko. Now, how come the boxing world didn't criticize Vasily Lomachenko? Once again, it's because of his complexion. We all get the temperature by now. We all know what's going on. Everybody else just deny it. And people who have something to say about me saying what the obvious is are the primary people who don't want to see Devin Haney get this shot when they complain about why does something have to be about race? Why does this have to be about race? Well, this shit was going on long before I was born, before you was born, so it didn't have to exist in the first place. But it does, and since it does, then we have to talk about that. All right? So the first thing we have to recognize is Vasily Lomachenko was getting all these shots and all these title shots, and he's basically hasn't done anything to earn it. He didn't earn his way in his first title shot. He didn't earn the second title shot. Just like he hasn't earned this title shot that he's finna get at Devin Haney. What it is trying to give these people, they basically want as many chances for Devin Haney to lose. They're drawing it out as many as possible. If George Kambosos can't beat him the first time, then maybe he can beat him the second time. And then if he can't beat him, then we'll throw Vasily Lomachenko in there. You know what I'm saying? So they're trying to make sure that he doesn't stay in that position that long. I think if Devin Haney is confident in himself, to go ahead and take it, because I want to see all them fights. And I think he can beat all of them. It's a reason why he's been avoided. It's a reason why Lomachenko gave up his belt and gave it to Devin Haney. Everybody talk about an email belt that he received, but nobody talk about the champion who gave up his belt so he can receive a belt. Okay? He can never get a belt unless a champion gives one up. All right? So I'm actually for all these fights. Yeah, it could be a low ball offer. Yes, they're trying to set him up, but as long as it's only for these 3 fights, guess what? As long as Devin Haney is confident in himself, it's a win-win-win-win. Period. The only thing he has to do is go out there and do what he claims that he knows how to do. So for that, I don't really have a problem with it. I'm actually excited for it. I want to see it. Now, as far as the money goes, that's up to his managers. He can renegotiate once he becomes the man or whatever and whatnot. But I want to see Devin Haney versus Vasily Lomachenko. I really do want to see that. The question is, will Vasily Lomachenko take that fight? Because never at one point in time has Vasily Lomachenko said he wanted to fight Devin Haney, even after he lost or everything else. I suggest right after he lost that he go fight Devin Haney. Since you gave away your belt to him, you could at least get one of your belts back. Then you can go back and fight for the rest of the belts. At least you were bringing something to the table. All right. But I think this is a win-win for Devin Haney if he can pull it off, because these are actually fights that I want to see, and I want to see Devin Haney versus Vasily Lomachenko, just like I want to see Devin Haney versus Vasily Lomachenko when Devin Haney was the mandatory. I'm not worried about Kambosos. I know what he can do with Kambosos. I'm not worried about Vasily Lomachenko. But either way, win, lose, or draw, whether Loma wins or Kambosos wins, the point is I want to see these fights. And if you got to accept a low offer and fuck with Lou DiBella and ESPN for a while, then you know what it is. But this is the thing. You bet not go to a decision with none of these cats, because you know what time it is. And that's the only drawback I see to it. Other than that, I'm actually for it. Unless I'm missing something out of this contract, you guys can update me, put it in the comment section. But as far as the information that I gathered, this is what I think. And I think he should go ahead and handle business, because he can beat all them dudes. And that'll be the end of that. And Devin Haney will be undisputed at a young age. Well, that's my thoughts on that. I'm out.